and welcome you join us for round 2 of the Tier 8 Championship for Season 8 as hosted by Apex Online Racing. It's GT3 class in Assetto Corsa Competizione. But before we get into tonight's race, let's have a quick recap of round 1, which took place at Kyalami. Beautiful day at Kyalami, great conditions, which Danny Direct used to his advantage during qualifying. Easily on pole, over 0.6 of a second ahead of his nearest rival, Bieler in second place. Danny led out at the start of the race, and by the end of the first lap already was 1.6 seconds clear of the rest of the field. You can see here, this is just within a few corners, more than a few car lengths already on the rest of the field. A lead he was not to relinquish for the rest of the race, eventually crossing the line 12 seconds clear of the rest of the field. A performance which, perhaps not surprisingly, led to Danny Direct being moved up to Tier 4. Meanwhile, scrambling for the other places on the podium, we see a move here by Petrov, going from a switchback from the right to the left of Bieler for turn 1. Petrov gets through and gets ahead of Bieler, and that's how that was to stay to the end of the race as well. Just 10 laps in when that important pass was made. Driver of the day was Janis Ruska, making up quite a number of places from quite a low start in the field. Just behind him was myself, Steve Bezic, BeesWax Racing. Also made up quite a number of places before the end of the race. And Mads Jensen featured heavily in the race. Lots of action for him. Let's hope he can have the right sort of action again for Misano this week. And Manuel Duque also almost a contender for driver of the day, having made up 9 places, finishing in 16th. So confirmation of the top 3 from Kyalami round. In first place, Daniel Direct of Double Damn Daniel, who unfortunately has to leave us after the first round, moving up to Tier 4, breaking up the team, so I think a reassignment of team members may be in order. Daniel Petrov came in second, and Pius Bieler came in third. For the Drivers' Championship, pretty simple really. Obviously after round 1, Dan Direct was leading the championship with 100 points. Daniel Petrov second with 90 and Pius Bieler in third with 81. But with the removal of Danny Direct from the Tier 8 Championship, he'll slowly drop down the Drivers' Championship table, but with that haul of 100 points, he'll be on there for some time to come. And the Teams' Championship, well, coming away before the changes in teams, the Double Damn Daniel had the lead thanks to that 100-point haul from Danny Direct on his own. Crazy Fly Racing were in second place and No Name in third, but closely followed by BeesWax Racing. Moving on to Misano itself, another lovely day for round 2. Air temperature 23 degrees and track temperature of 27. Let's have a look at the outcome of qualifying for round 2 at Misano. Sven Hertgens qualifies on pole with a time of 1:33.696 in the Bentley Continental, but he will have a 30-second penalty to serve during the pit stops for transgressions that must have taken place in Season 7, Sven having missed round 1. Alongside him on the front row, Andy Hansen again, a time of 1:34.1 this time. Row 2, Andrei Ranihag of Hexagon Nation, alongside Janis Ruska. Manuel Duque qualified in 5th place on the 3rd row, racing for No Name. Roman Kurdel alongside. On row 4 in P7 is Daniel Petrov of Double Damn Daniel. Daniel having replaced Daniel Direct, who left us for Tier 4. Alongside him is Uros Huzjak. Row 5 in 9th place is Dmitry Ogronodikov of Crazy Fly Racing Team, alongside Pius Bieler, a strong finisher from last week, qualifying down in 10th. Row 6, Marcel Zigo in his Aston Martin V8 Vantage, alongside Carlos Alvarez in another Aston Martin. Row 7, P13 is JP McKinley of Celtic Bromance. He was complaining I was saying Celtic Bromance, so I may flip between the two for the rest of the race. Radomir Kozerski alongside him. Row 8, Xander van Dijk of Eurocaf Club alongside Nikolai Koenig. Row 9 is Danny Martinez of BeesWax Racing alongside Daniel Nielsen. On row 10 it's Arnas Morkis alongside Daniel Montero of Double Damn Daniel. Row 11 in P21 is Pavel Pobinako alongside Tom Tweedy. On row 12, 23rd place is Lord Nem for No Name alongside Matthew Henry for Ardwen Racing Team. On row 13 in P25 is Gregors Dudka alongside Koponuri Dwajin. On row 14 is Ricardo Fontau alongside Ibrahim El Magdoub. Row 15, P29 is Simon Vazarik alongside Michel Balecki. On row 16 is Zamfir Radu alongside myself, Steve Bezic of BeesWax Racing. On row 17 is Julian Henry of Ardwen Racing Team alongside Artos Ivanov, who has a 30-second penalty to serve during the pits. But also, Ardwen was within 1.896 seconds of pole, meaning P1 to P34 were all within 2 seconds of the pole sitter. Only the final two drivers, Mads Jensen just outside 2 seconds and Justin Dawson was 2.8 seconds nearly off pole position in P38. And that's the field for the start of the race at Misano. Let's move on to the race itself. And the drivers come round the final corner, line up side by side, ready for the off for round 2 of Season 8 of the GT3 Championship. You'll find Sven Hertgers is on our left as they approach. They'll give them the inside line for the first corner, distinct advantage. And lights are green in their way. Andy Hansen trying to get up the outside of the Bentley, but not able to make that work. The McLaren of Andrei Ranihak followed the Bentley though, and looks to have got ahead of Andy Hansen before they're heading into turn 4. At Rio, and as they approach us, indeed, the McLaren has got through. So Andrei Ranihag pushing down the Aston Martin of Andy Hansen. There's a bit of tapping and a few people coming together in the middle of the pack, and somebody warping there across the track. But just ahead, Mamelduke, qualified in 5th, looks to have been caught from the rear there by Uros Uzjak. Spins him out towards the wall, and that'll be him to the back of the field. So a bit of a bad start for Mamelduke of No Name. But they're all round and heading down the very fast straight through the kink of 7 towards the hairpin bend of Corsa. And Sven Hergers really seemed to be sliding his car around that corner then. Both Hansen and Ranihag close on his tail. A little bit of a gap then to 4th place. Similarly Ruska having a good race already. Having a good strong race last week. Here's Ruska in 4th place. Then there's a tiny gap down to the next of the runners, look like Petrov at the head of the field there. And a big spin of air, the Porsche in the middle of the bend. So a few places to be made up there, and the rest of the field are away though, and they're going down the fast back straight of Misano through T11, Corvone, up towards the tricky double right-hander that makes up towards the hairpin of Carroll. Most of the field through, but quite a few going quite wide there at the bottom of the course. They will get cut warnings for that, and Misano renowned for a lot of cut warnings and drivers getting drive-through penalties, which can affect the outcome quite a bit. But at the end of the first lap, it's Hertgers across the line in 1st place, Ranihag in 2nd, and Hansen in 3rd. And we move to lap 5. Radomir Kozerski is with in the Aston Martin. He's got Simon Vazarik behind him. He's trying up a right-hand side. Coming down into the double right-hander of Rio, and they seem to come together slightly there. Kozerski looked to be forced a little bit wide, but Vazarik is few, and Kozerski really flashing his lights there. I don't think he's too happy with how that pass worked out. On further round on the same lap, lap 5, Petrov is trying to have a go at Ruska as they come down the back straight. Tries to get on the outside as they come in towards the double right-hander leading into Caro. Towards the end of the lap, but Ruska's got a much better position there. No way through for Petrov that time. Ruska preserves his position in 4th place on lap 6. With Julien Henry in the Aston Martin. And Mads Jensen just ahead of him. Is he going to make an attempt going down into the quite open corner of Corsia? He does make an attempt. He's up the inside, but I don't think he overcooked that. He's come to a halt now. Did he catch He did catch Jensen. I think he's slowing down to try and let Jensen back through again. Misjudged that one. Jensen will regain the place, but they may well have both lost the place there as somebody went through in the background. On lap 7, with Xander Van Dijk in his Mercedes AMG. Coming up on Danny Montero. Dives up the inside, there's Danny. Forcing the Mercedes wide, and he's really made that one work. Might go past there from Danny. No way. On lap 7, Danny Montero gets up to 10th place, pushing Xander Van Dijk down to 11th. We're on lap 8 with Daniel Martinez. Again, driver being attacked by Simon Vazaric. T1 makes a big dive up the inside, coming in towards the hairpin bend at turn 8. Daniel flashing his lights there. I'm not sure he wasn't too happy with how that pass was made. It looked clean enough from the outside. Vazaric now moving up into 14th place. Looks to be having a strong race so far. I wonder if he's going to be making a bid for driver of the day. On lap 8 with Radomir Kazierski again. Featuring a lot this race. Now Ricardo Fontal is behind him. And they've both gone wide. Oh, and it looks like Kazierski's lost the car a little bit there. It spins out. Fontal will go through. But it looks like they both caught a bit of grass. And Radomir came out much the worse for that one. Dropping down quite a number of places. We most disappointed in that. On lap 9, with Marcel Zigo or Carlos Alvarez popping out there to make a quick dive down the inside, is it? There is the Aston Martin, the white and red of Alvarez now ahead of Zigo as they go around the final bottom part of the course, turn 14, and back round the two left-handers to the start-finish line. And on lap 10, it's Mads Jensen again with Julien Henry. These two maybe towards the rear of the field, but it doesn't stop them having a good fight with each other. Henry trying to get on the outside for the first corner. That's an ambitious move, but he looks well ahead of Jensen as they get there, and indeed he's through. So must have got a really good exit from the final corner. Get ahead of Jensen's Aston Martin. We're on lap 12 with Piers Bieler, who's trying to have a go at Uros Husjak as they come round onto the big back straight. It really depends on who's got a better exit here. Piers pulling over to the right hand side, trying to get up the inside of Uros. By the time they get to the big turns at the bottom of this straight, Uros still just ahead. Wasn't enough, perhaps, from Piers. Yep, and it was a brave attempt, good go, but Husjak stays in front. On lap 14, it's for Zarek again. This time coming up on Dutka in his Lexus. You can see the difference in the lines there between the two cars, and the Ferrari seems to carry a lot more speed, and by the time they're coming up towards the start-finish line, the Ferrari's well ahead of the Lexus, so definitely something we can all pick up there about the best lines through those sequence of corners. That will move Zarek up into 11th place, Dutka down to 12th. Lap 15, it's Pavel Pomenako that we're with, coming up towards Radu and the Aston Martin. This is towards the bottom half of the course. It looks like Radu lost the rear end of the car a little bit there, made it easy for Pomenako to get through. Very, very wide line there. As long as he didn't get a cut warning, he'll be okay. And over the start-finish line, and that loss of the rear end there cost Pomenako here, dropped well back down the field. Big gap there, opened up immediately. Lap 17 with Arnas Morkis, with Dutka again in the Lexus. Oh, and Lexus caught the curbs really badly there. And in real life, when we saw a Porsche do that, the driver ended up in hospital with a broken back, so that lost the Lexus all its speed. So Arnas Morkis through on Dutka, putting the Lexus behind it. And in the real world, I think that Lexus would have been destroyed by catching a curb that badly. Lap 22, it's Koenig trying to come up on Danny Montero there, just ahead of him in a Lamborghini. Danny Montero's gone well wide there going around that corner. That'll make it easy for Nicola Koenig to get through before the end of the back straight. So a mistake there by Danny Montero, opened the door. Another in the background was Xander Van Dijk, who's gone well wide there. Big slide from Xander Van Dijk. And that would have put Danny Martinez right behind Montero next. On lap 23 with Janis Ruska, last week's driver of the day, attacking Dmitry Ogrodnikov. Side by side, but it looks like Ruska's just ahead there. He's got through, and that was during turn 8, the hairpin, and they're coming up towards Tramonto and the back straight. As long as he gets a good exit, Ruska, he'll stay ahead of the Aston Martin. On lap 24, it's Dmitry Ogrodnikov again, this time with Herkes being featured. Herkes having dropped down right down the field. He's in 8th place, having qualified on pole with a really strong performance. Up the inside goes Herkes on Dimitri. Dimitri's car looking like it's missing a livery there. I know it's in the carbon fibre. That's not permitted by ACC, so he needs to change away from that carbon fibre underskin, and then his livery will be on show, which will be a lot more colourful to look at next rounds. And further round on lap 24, it's Mikhail Beliki and Aranas Morkis. Morkis in the Mercedes trying to get up the inside. A lot of passes being attempted into turn 8. Corsa on the hairpin. It looks like he's got that one made there. The 222 car. A Ferrari dropping behind. It'll all be about who gets a better exit out of Tramonto and onto the back straight. It looks good for the Mercedes. The Ferrari's already a few car lengths behind and having to go defensive. Lap 25, Radomir Krzyzewski again, featuring with Grzegorz Dudka in the Lexus. Oh, Grzegorz looks well up to the inside there before we go yet again into turn 8 at Corsa. Looks like Radomir was attempting the switchback there, but not enough speed from that exit, and the Lexus stays in front. Krzyzewski down to 25th. Krzyzewski down to 26th. Lap 26, Mikhail Beliki and Manuel Duque. All the positions they wanted to be fighting for. Duque having qualified in 5th, is now trying to get up the inside of Beliki. This will be for 23rd position. A long way down on where he started from, following that collision on the opening lap. At least she's on a bit of a bad line there. May lose speed as well to the Porsche of Lord Nem behind him. Having a look, but I don't think Lord Nem will be close enough. And on lap 27 is Ibrahim El Magdoub here in the McLaren, being chased by the Ferrari of Kupanuri Dwajin. It looks like, it's side by side, it's a big battle. Oh, and Ibrahim looks to have maybe tried to take that corner too tightly. Spins, does a quick 360 and regains the track. But they've dropped a number of places there. But it looks like they were both giving each other room. Just lost the rear end going into the tight left-handers, tight right-handers at Rio. And on lap 28, it's Andrei Renihag alongside Dmitry Ogrodnikov. Renihag in the McLaren. I think he's going to be close enough there to really have a go at Dmitry. Oh, but Dmitry went wide. Ogrodnikov going wide at the hairpin. Looks to be at turn 8 again, Corsa. So an easy position in the end for Andrei Renihag to make up. Ogrodnikov desperately trying to get that position back, but he'll take some time to get up to speed. We're on lap 28, it's Mikhail Beliki and Grzegorz Dudka. The Ferrari of Beliki and the Dudka having a big dive up the inside. Looks to be going straight past the Ferrari then. Massive overspeed on the back straight. Must have got a very good exit on the final corner. So pretty easy pass there for Dudka. And that will put him into 24th position, pushing down Beliki to 25th. Lap 29, and Mr. Dmitry Ogrodnikov again, this time with JP McKinley of Celtic Romance. I know he gets upset, but he'll get more upset if Dmitry gets past him. No, but Dmitry has another spin. I wonder if his tyres are gone, he's got damage on his tyres, but Dmitry desperately trying to stay on the track, losing a number of places there, thanks to losing the rear end of the car there. McKinley will probably get 8th place there, looking at the position board at the side, but God knows where Odner Kondakov has dropped back down to. On lap 30 is Nikolai Koenig and Danny Montero. These two seem to be together all race. Montero trying to be defensive, taking the middle of the track, going into the turn number 8. Koenig trying to get around the outside. Has Montero gone too deep? Didn't look it. Looks like he'd done enough there to keep Koenig behind him. And indeed, I think he has. On a defensive drive all the way to the line from the looks of things. But Danny Montero on lap 31. It's Ricardo Fontau and Simon Vazarik fighting against each other. Vazarik ahead. It looks like he may have carried a lot of speed into that corner. But he's made it work. Days ahead of the Aston Martin of Fontau. And on lap 31 we're with Nikolai Koenig again and Danny Montero still carrying on this battle. Koenig still looking for a way past the Lamborghini with Danny Martinez hovering around in the background. Oh, side by side there with the Aston and Danny Montero trying to find a way through. Didn't work. Montero managed to recover it and keep it ahead just. It's getting pretty sketchy between them. Lap 31. Steve Bezic, myself and BeesWax Racing catching up with Mads Jensen. Very lonely race after got punted at the start and incurred a lot of damage. Had to pit on the 3rd lap for well over a minute's worth of repairs. So well down the field, but straight up the inside for turn 1. Pushing hard to try and get some good decent result from this from a very, very difficult start to the race. And through and away goes the Ferrari of BeesWax Racing. On lap 33, Nikolai Koenig again, this time with Xander Van Dijk. Maybe Nikolai has pushed his tyres too far. He went well wide there, making it very easy for Van Dijk to get through. And Danny Martinez also trying to get away through there on the Aston Martin of Nikolai Koenig. Definitely looks like his tyres are cooked the way he's sliding around all over the track, falling back all the time. Montero now has a comfortable gap ahead of them. And on 35, maybe Koenig's got his tyres back because he's having another go at Xander Van Dijk to try and get past the Mercedes. Going around the outside of turn 8, which is an ambitious move, looking for traction. And it really looks to have made that work, perhaps. We'll find out in a second when the camera pulls back. No, it didn't work. It was too far wide. Didn't get enough speed, but he's up the inside. And he does get side by side, and it looks like he'll get away with that one, and the position made up for Nikolai Koenig. Lap 35, getting really close to the end of the race now. It's Daniel Nilsson and Manuel Duque. Duque coming back from that collision at the start. Nilsson going defensive over to the right, but that may well be the mistake. The Bentley straight through on the outside, gets a much wider running to turn 1 and will be able to carry much more speed. So Duque away, and with a couple of car lengths almost immediately over the Lamborghini. And that's pretty much it for the action from Misano in terms of a race this week. It's Hansen who leads away. Andy Hansen clear of the field, 16 seconds clear of the field this time. Zigo having made his way up all the way from P11 up into P2, so a really good result looking for Zigo. And Uros Huzjak, who started in 8th, looks to be finishing in 3rd position. Bieler, who was on the podium last week, he's currently in 4th, but the race isn't over till we're over the line. So we'll wait and see the official race results before we call it on who came where. Now looking at candidates for driver of the day, the first driver we'll have a look at is Ricardo Fontau. Qualified in 27th position, coming here round for the start. Well down the field, with a long way to go to the front of the pack. Number of drivers, quite a lot of drivers made up a lot of places, but Ricardo's first job was to avoid that chaos on the start of the race before many of us had even got across the start-finish line. There were cars off. Ricciardo got through that okay and into the first lap. Kept it pretty clean and avoided a few other incidents that were going on the first lap. And that's one of the key ingredients, getting a good result. 4 laps in, this chaos in front of him opened up a number of opportunities. So past the Mercedes there of Marquez, and I believe that put him up into P18. But thanks to a number of other drivers who had to pit and other incidents happening in front, the drivers falling off the track very soon. We saw this incident earlier. Krzyzewski catching a lot of grass there. Fantau through to 16th place. And 10 laps in. This happened in front. Zarek caught from behind by the Aston Martin of Petrov, opened the door. So from Fantau's point of view, you can see the cars off to the right there. That'll put him through into 12th position. Put him through into 12th position. And by the time it came to the pit stops, he was in 11th place. Came out of the pits, dropping obviously quite a way down the field. That's the Aston Martin there behind of the Zareks. I believe I'll be about 20th position by the time the computer's caught up for Ricardo Fantau. And a few laps later, Zarek came through on the Aston Martin. Took that position away. Still waiting for a number of drivers in front to make their pit stops. So not really the final position. Fantau didn't look too happy with that. Was flashing his lights. And nearly 10 laps later on lap 28, looked to be a bit put off there as Zarek came back across, as coming up to lap traffic, ended up touching the grass and lost the position to Petrov. But if you pay attention closely, Petrov's got a drive-through penalty already, presumably for track cuts. So a little bit further round on that lap, Petrov pulled into the pits and Fantau regained that position. And on lap 31, you can see Zarek there warping across the track a little bit. I don't know if that put him off or helped Fantau, but Fantau managed to get through on the Rio complex of corners ahead of the Ferrari. Unfortunately, the warping of Zarek was a bit evidence throughout the race, caused a few issues. Zarek dives up the inside there for turn 8, but really overcooks it, outbrakes himself. Fantau wisely gives him the space and then gets through on the inside and is easily away. Towards the end of the race, this incident ahead of Fantau was to play a decisive impact on the end result. You saw Fantau go through there. That was Daniel Martinez of BeesWax Racing coming together with Nicola Koenig, who'd gone across the grass, off the track and rejoined and plonked the Ferrari out of the way. I don't know if that one will have ended up with the stewards, but Fantau finished in 11th place, making up 16 places on his initial qualifying position. A pretty impressive performance from Fantau. But the other driver of the day is a driver who we've seen quite a bit of throughout the highlight show, Simon Vazarek in his Ferrari 488. Again, at the start, managing to avoid all the trouble, and then on the opening lap, getting up the inside here of the McLaren 720S, and trying to go at the Ferrari as well, just ahead of him, the white Ferrari, didn't it? And the big load of spinners there in front of him, and again, bit of luck, Simon avoids that trouble. And very quickly, before the end of the first lap, from into 18th position. I'm trying to get up the inside there of the Lamborghini 101 of Nilsson. I'll get him 17th position. Now closing up on the back of Danny Martinez. But Martinez already through as well on the Aston Martin. All the places changing quite a bit. A little bit rude perhaps on the Aston Martin of Krzyzewski, going through the complex of 4 and 5 for Rio. And then it was Danny Martinez's turn to have the Ferrari of Zarek on his tail. Dives up the inside, going for the big hairpin at turn 8. And Danny flashing his lights there, but to be honest, I couldn't see too much wrong with that. There's no contact made. Danny clearly very agitated by the move. And a little bit further round on lap 9, it's up to the inside of Petrov. Moving into 12th position. Favourite passing place, the complex of 4 and 5. But then, as we saw earlier, got tapped from behind by Petrov, just going through T1. Dropped back a number of places, that's the 222 there. That would have placed him back down the field. And we rejoin him on lap 14, now back in 12th position, trying to catch up on Dutka. And Alexis gets up the inside. It looked like Dutka may have made a small mistake there. Went wide and Ferrari away. Lap 16, Zarek still moving forward and decides to pit at this point. Pitting behind Fantau from the looks of things. These two were in battle, as we saw from Fantau's drive potential for driver of the day. Rejoined very quickly by lap 19, got up the inside of the Aston Martin of Fantau. Pulling away, or trying to, then made a mistake a few laps later, as we saw with Fantau's highlights. And the Aston Martin was through and away. So Fantau to 13th. Zarek to 14th. And by the end of the race, the Ferrari had recovered into 12th. So two good drives there. One appeared to be a little bit contentious. Lots of flashing of lights, which I witnessed from a lot of different drivers. Whereas there was not to the other drivers. So I think on balance, I think I'll give it to Fantau this week. That's my view. Please make sure to share your view on who you think was driver of the day in the comments below. So moving on to look at the official race results. Andy Hansen, having qualified in second place, finishes the race ahead. First place to Andy Hansen and maximum points. Marcel Zigo came in second place, having started in 11th, so a good drive from Marcel. Another week, he may have been up for driver of the day, but there were quite a few drivers who made up like 9 positions from their start, so you can't show everybody. In third place, Uros Huzjak, who qualified in 8th. Piers Bieler, who was on the podium last week, was in 4th. Carlos Alvarez was in 5th. For the team drivers, Andrei Ranihag from Hexagon Nation was in 6th. JP McKinley from Celtic Bromance was in 7th. Ruska, who driver of the day last week, finished in 8th. Danny Montero for Double Dam Daniel was 9th, the first of a Double Dam Daniel drivers home. Xander Van Dijk from Eurocaf Club came in 10th. Ricardo Fantau, as we've seen, came in 11th. Simon Vazarik was 12th. Sven Herkes, having qualified on pole, fell down to 13th before the end of a race. Daniel Martinez from BeesWax Racing had a bit of a tricky time. Finished in 14th, had that coming together with Nikolai Koenig, who finished in 15th, right on the final laps. Kupanuri Dwajin was 16th, Arnas Morkis in his distinctive Mercedes was in 17th. The Rinkstri Ogronodikov from Crazy Fly Racing Team finished in 18th, and Zamfir Radu was 19th. Looking into the second half of the field, Manuel Duque qualified in 5th, for No Name finished in 20th. Danny Nielsen, 21st, Radomir Kajerski finished in 22nd, had a very eventful race, not sure he'll be happy with that result. Pavel Pobinako, 23rd, Grigoris Dutka, again a driver who seemed to feature an awful lot, finished in 24th. Mikhail Beliki was in 25th. Matthew Henry for Ardwen Racing Team was 26th. Ibrahim El Magdoub, I think he was doing well, but it did seem to catch him having a couple of spins. So the Eurocaf Club driver finished down in 27th. Steve Bezic, myself for BeesWax Racing, finished in 28th, having to do a recovery drive, having had a pretty bad first lap. Mads Jensen, 29th. Tom Tweedy, 30th. Lord Name for No Name, finished down in 31st, so there's probably a story behind that. Arturos Ivanovs was 32nd. Danil Petrov for Double Dam Daniel was 33rd. Justine Dawson, 24th. Kurdell did not finish, and Julien Henry was disqualified after not serving a drive-through penalty within the mandated 3 laps. A lesson learned for Julien there about serving those penalties as quickly as possible. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, it's now a change around at the top, thanks to 5th place in the first round and a 2nd place in the second round. Marcel Zigo heads to the top of the table with 156 points. Just 2 points behind him, it's Piers Bieler in 154 points. Daniel Darret has been moved on to Tier 4, but will still hover around in the Drivers' Championship for at least 1 or 2 more rounds. Andy Hansen, good result today. Didn't race last week, but came first this week. So gets a number of points on the board and effectively will be in third place in the championship once Daniel Darret is eliminated. Simon Vazarek is in 5th place. Daniel Montero, first of the Double Damn Daniel drivers, is in 6th. Daniel Petrov, a new recruit to Double Damn Daniel, is in 7th. JP McKinley for Celtic Romance is in 8th. Radomir Kozierski had a really difficult race this week. Finished 4th on the first round of Kyalami, but this week down in 22nd. He's down in 9th on the Drivers' Championship. And Uros Huzjak, who missed the first round, finished 3rd today, moves him into 10th on the table. Looking at the Teams' Championship, despite the swap round of drivers, Double Damn Daniel, consisting of Daniel Montero and Daniel Petrov, they had the table with 191 points. It's only a 20-point gap back to Celtic Bromance, which is Uros Huzjak and JP McKinley. Hexagon Nation is next in 3rd place. Daniel Neeson and Andrei Ranihag. 121 points puts them 50 points behind Celtic Bromance, so we'll need some good results to keep it tight for the top 3. 4th place is BeesWax Racing. Daniel Martinez and Steve Bezic both having a bit of a difficult time this week and losing places when they shouldn't really need to if people had avoided having collisions. In 5th place, Crazy Fly Racing Team, Dmitry Elgronodikov and Dmitry Polyakov have 84 points, so pretty close behind BeesWax Racing. They'll have to be careful. No Name, they really suffered this week. Manuel Duque qualified in 5th, but got punted on the first lap and ended up right towards the end of the field, from where it was difficult for him to recover any decent placing. Lord Nem also seemed to have a bad week, finishing well down. They've got 77 points. Eurocaf Club, Xander Van Dijk and Ibrahim El Magdoub, they've got 67 points. And Ardwen Racing Team having a very difficult time. Matthew Emery, I think, finished this week, but Julian Emery got disqualified from the race, so not the greatest for their team, but they'll gain more points and they'll get themselves in the running. This concludes all the action from Misano. Next round will be at the Nürburgring, which will be an endurance race of 90 minutes. And to make things worse, it's pretty much guaranteed to rain. We've checked the weather reports and it's definitely changeable. There is no clear prediction of what the weather will be like, with a very high possibility of rain and a very high probability of the weather changing during the race itself. So we'll have to find out what happens on Tuesday next week. Please join us for a live stream of the race, or keep an eye open for the highlight show to follow sometime after the event has taken place. If you want to catch either of those events, please subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed this highlight show, please leave a like. I think it does something magical on YouTube. But hope you've enjoyed. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.